From less than ideal conditions in northern New Jersey, this is the 2 Point Deduction Podcast. I'm Matt Ryan, joined by Harry Terjanian and Stephanie Sottile. This week I have two guests, mainly because I've not been able to get away from these people in 4 fucking days.
Yeah, I have a feeling the next couple of weeks you're going to have a lot of reoccurring guests.
It's going to be a very Jack Torrance situation for all three of us.
All work and no play make Matt a dull boy.
Yeah, no
we go.
TV and no beer make Homer go crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, the Shining reference, and also you have chosen apparently to dress like Oscar Madison during
I've decided.
What is this? You've never done this before. What is this?
We're under quarantine,
right?
Which allows everyone in America to effectively give up.
You know, you say quarantine. It's been 2 days.
It's been 2 days.
And you work from home a lot of the time. I feel like a lot of people are quitting way early. Am I wrong on this?
I think it's because they wanted to quit to begin with.
Right.
And now we have an excuse. Right. Especially Generation Y. I'm not saying millennial. I hate that word. Generation Y and Generation Z in particular are very well prepared to die because everything is just miserable.
Gang.
Okay.
That's why there's a meme going around that if someone breaks into your house, you're like, oh, thank God. Where have you been?
Fair enough.
To kill me.
So this has affected all of our lives. As a professional wrestling producer and also a mixed martial arts yelling person, I have nothing to produce or yell at. You guys are comedians. Harry's a stand-up and sketch comedian. Stephanie's a sketch comedian and writer. And, well, you guys were supposed to have a show on Wednesday that we promoted on this podcast. I knew that wasn't
happening.
Wah, wah.
Yeah.
We're holding out hope to be the last-ditch effort for entertainment because we figured stand-up clubs, you don't necessarily get 500 people there. We thought, let's keep it going.
Well,
They're going to keep us going.
Down, and then they did. Then they shut everything down. It kept going. Well, they snuck this up on us, didn't they? Which might have been the best way to do it, which is to go, all right, you can't have large gatherings of thousands of people, except, of course, Post Malone's fan base, who I'm a big Post Malone fan, but it's one of those situations.
We don't know why.
He's a tremendous artist.
It's a rib at this point.
I'm starting to think that
he's becoming the
Post Malone is my Nickelback, in that
your own personal Nickelback.
My personal Nickelback, in the sense that
he's not everybody's Nickelback.
No,
but this is
he's everybody's Fred Durst. He's like a modern Fred Durst.
I can go with that.
Yeah,
I think he's amazing, and the thing is, there are so many people who've told me that he is not, and that he's terrible.
Absolutely.
And I don't understand it, and it just might be he just might be my Nickelback. The way other people love Nickelback, and I used to mock them. I think everybody gets one or two.
I think it's mostly that you were contrarian by nature, and you want to live your life out of spite. So when other people are telling you no, and you're like, "Screw," can we swear? I forgot.
Yes.
Fuck you. I'm going to say yes. So if everyone's telling you one thing, you're like,
not.
Fuck you, I'm going to go the other way, and I'm going to like Post Malone.
No, I'm
so
not.
I think it's out of spite,
I'm not, no.
and I think you've done it so much, it's this continuous loop that you've brainwashed yourself.
I've convinced myself that he's actually
convincing
good.
yourself that he's good.
The man is, and he crosses genres, whether it's hip-hop or rock music or...
You should do a poll.
You know the MMA equivalent to that? Colby Covington.
People...
because he's so annoying that you have to take a definitive stand on him, and you can't just be passive. It's the same thing with the Nickelback argument. Colby Covington's the Nickelback of mixed martial arts.
No.
Because he's got a very staunch audience that love him to death, and then there's an overwhelming audience that dislike them. And then there's that weird middle ground of those who do it for the lulls.
No, I think Colby Covington. I mean, also he was good. I mean, Colby is a good fighter.
Well, Nickelback and Post Malone have hits. They empirically are successful.
Yeah, but see, here's the problem. I hate
by
Nickelback.
The fact that they are well known.
I think Nickelback is terrible, and that's the whole point. Somebody enjoys Nickelback, and it might be this is my Nickelback.
A lot of people do, sure.
Yeah, I don't understand it myself.
And I don't understand why people like Colby Covington either, even though he is successful as a fighter.
At least he wins, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Well, there is a...
Until he got...
Do you think... what percentage... Yeah, well, what percentage of his fan base do you think legit is on board because of the MAGA stuff?
Oh, it's got to be a sizable percentage. Like 40% maybe.
That's a lot.
Of his, but I mean, they got to root. They don't have a lot of sports heroes other than NASCAR.
Yeah, And occasional baseball player.
And football. Well,
yeah.
But
they've got most of the white sports.
No, I'll say this. No, and because they have sports heroes, but they're all apolitical. There's very few pro like I think even for the most part NASCAR, everybody knows enough to stay out of politics.
Oh hell yeah, because there's ad money in it now. Like baseball.
I mean, but we all know what their demographic is.
NASCAR
for the most part.
Oh, it's Southern.
We all know
without a doubt.
Yeah.
So, same with MMA.
It's like they don't need to say it.
But MMA is all over the place.
It's Midwestern. It's male. It's primarily 18 to 45, and it's an aggressive.
MMA.
I would think so. It's aggressively there's large coastal preference. Like when you look at Florida, New York, New Jersey, on the East and West Coast, there were sizable fan bases. But there's a reason why the UFC goes to Lincoln, Nebraska, and fucking UFC
all
over the
crosses so many genres because there's so many fighters from everywhere.
But if you look at I'm talking about the target demo though. The target demo is not a Brazilian guy. The target demo is male 18 to 45 because they're the ones with buying power.
All right, so when we do those pressers at Radio City Music Hall, it's a very urban demographic.
But we also live in New York, though.
Right,
so it's like we're considered an outlier, at least in my opinion.
Well, you could do anything in New York. I mean, they have bull riding in Madison Square Garden, and they did the Country Music Awards here a couple times just because you can find enough of everything in New York, I would gather.
And also, if you
I
look
thought you meant politically, and I was going to say most of UFC fans are libertarians. That's my guess.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
If you look at MMA Mania's Twitter,
not fully knowing what libertarians are, I would say that most MMA fans do define themselves as libertarian in the sense that everyone and their mother defines themselves as libertarian. People who support Trump and people who support Bernie Sanders.
You're a contrarian liberal.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
That might be what it is.
No, a lot of them are.
I'm a contrarian.
No, libertarian.
Libertarian.
It's a combination of the words.
That's not.
It's wordplay.
I know.
How many MMA fans are Federalists or Whigs? That's a really
It's
highbrow.
a poll right now. Twitter.com/MMA Mania.
The Green Party is approximately 3 people.
Yeah.
I feel like one of them would be Joe Rogan.
Yeah, it's really Joe Rogan and Ari Shaffir are the only Green Party members.
Part of the. Why is he part of UFC?
Joe Rogan?
I'm just throwing somebody connected with it. I don't know if he really is deep into it, but
was he fired from that too, from working at UFC?
No, he's doing all right. He'll be fine. Ari will be fine. Ari is like a cockroach. He just survives time after time. No, I mean, he's a funny comedian. I'm not shitting on Ari. I work with him from time to time.
That's why we're just making fun of these people that we know that get fired from so many things.
I mean, Ari's a lunatic. Yeah. Well, you don't. I mean, how many things have you been fired from? A couple things.
At least 7 things.
Right, but
I was fired from 60 Minutes.
Huh?
I was fired from 60 Minutes.
You were fired from
ageism, but in reverse.
Oh, okay. They wouldn't hire you because
too young.
Too young for 60 Minutes.
I don't know. Morley Schaefer kept looking at my tits. I feel like it was that.
Safer.
Safer?
Yes. Morley Safer.
Morley Safer.
I didn't care about his name when he keeps looking at my chest.
Allegedly. I don't want to get sued by CBS.
Well, isn't he the one who had to leave?
No, I don't think so.
Gee, I wonder why.
There was one who had to leave. I forget which one it was. And I'm not counting Charlie Rose, who was a special correspondent. But
this has turned into
a
one of them. Podcast.
One of them did die.
A lot of them died. The show has been on since 1960, so a lot of them have been. A lot of them have died. In fact, I did a comedy.
You ever notice? Some of them died.
Andy Rooney did die.
Yeah. Bradley died.
Ed Bradley. Ed Bradley died. I mean, a lot of them have died because it's been on since the 1960s. Yeah. I mean, it is a conspiracy theory why so many of them. You might want to check it out. Why? I mean, hundreds of people who've worked there have died since the 1960s. I mean, we're not just talking people on camera. People who work the cameras, sound guys, caterers. It's a death trap over there in 60 Minutes.
But speaking of death traps.
Yes.
Mixed martial arts.
Yes, back
Cage
to
Warriors in Ireland this weekend is persisting and still running a show.
Okay, audience or no audience?
No audience.
No audience.
As of now.
That seems to be the theme.
Yes.
Well, it has to be, yeah.
UFC Brasilia, we watched last weekend. That card still went on with no audience. UFC London was supposed to happen.
And they're not allowing it?
They're not allowing that to happen. I think
even the no audience shows?
Yes, because mainly because the headliner Leon Edwards got hurt at the start of fight week, so that kind of just kiboshed the whole deal.
They kind of use that as a way to pull it out.
Oh yeah,
maybe All right, yeah, get the insurance money or whatever. Conspiracy theories. Well, there's a lot of that contractual stuff that goes on. I think it's also the reason that Vince McMahon didn't cancel WrestleMania.
It was the insurance reason.
It's
Yeah.
insurance.
But I don't blame I don't
No, I
blame
get it.
him.
You have to. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying that's part of the business aspect of it. This is unprecedented territory.
Yeah.
So now the other thing with doing the shows without an audience is that it still breaks the number of people that you want in a confined facility because each fighter has a crew of at least 5 people.
Mm-hmm.
And
maybe it's that they have room to stay far enough away from each other.
I guess, but no matter how you do it, they don't want that many people. Look, we're breaking we're violating what they want us to not do, which is, I mean, literally we're doing, at this point we've given up because
social distancing is not happening here.
So if one of us has it, we're in it together.
We all kind of have it. So at this point, but all right,
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
That was not a fake one either.
No,
that was
you're buying dinner and cough medicine now.
I did the proper way. I did the wing.
You did do the wings. If we
Steven
Webered it
Webered
up, we have it. So look, the idea is at this point is trying to stay in as much as feasibly possible. That's for everybody.
Yes.
Now the question is, at what point is it essential? Is the entertainment essential?
Yes.
I agree. I mean, I'm willing. If these fighters are willing to make the sacrifice, let them make that sacrifice. I understand that the idea is not the fighters, but who everybody spreads it to. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I get it. Unless we're just doing mandatory quarantines, I don't have a problem with it as much. I mean, you want to reduce as much as you can, make it essential, limit the number of crews.
Yeah.
But so far they've done one UFC event in Brazil. How was that? You feel like
it was weird. It was a very weird card, and the fights were very weird. They had the most fights that went to the scorecards in UFC history, and then 2 back-to-back like quick stoppages.
Okay.
But as an MMA fan, it was an odd experience, and if you're a pro wrestling fan, you witnessed that too with Raw, SmackDown, AEW this week. Being completely sans audience, but still producing content.
So I've watched a couple of, in the past they've done the Contender series,
like
and
the Ultimate Fighter
and all that stuff, and those are usually with just people around. So that feels fine. I don't have a problem with it. It's not ideal. You want the crowd in there, but look, I mean, it's no different than prelims where nobody's making noise. No. People are shuffling in. I mean, let's be honest, especially UFC or even Bellator. MMA is not as bad as boxing is with that, where they start that undercard at, 10:30 in the morning. And you're watching, there's 2 fighters in the ring, and there's just a guy with a mop and bucket in the background. And you're like, what is the point? And you hear nobody. There's nobody in those crowds.
Where's the free breakfast? They're just people wandering into the wrong part of the arena.
There's an expo going on in the little...
There's a guy in a Star Trek uniform with the ears that shows up, walks into the thing and goes, oh, my bad. And then walks right out. Furries.
Why does he sound like how cartoons portray nerds?
Nobody
sounds like a fly in human hybrid, but yet somehow every time you imitate a nerd, it's always that. Nobody sounds like that.
I do the Conan O'Brien rule, which is you do the and then push up the glasses.
It's always that.
Which is not what nerds are. We're all nerds.
Yes.
I also don't like that the power of nerds has been taken away. That word has been, like, some of you are like, I'm a nerd. You're not a nerd. You just happen to enjoy sci-fi. We all know what nerds were. And just, especially the I Love Nerds t-shirts.
I'm such a nerd. No, you're not. You're a rugby player that kind of watches Supernatural sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you're
You're a juggalo who went to go see Super League or whatever. Not Super League.
Justice League.
Justice League.
Okay.
Shows you how little I give a fuck.
Meanwhile,
we have
back at the podcast,
I was talking about
the
soccer league, the Super League. But so anyway, going back to the empty arena, I want to see it mostly because there's nothing else going on, and if we can allow it to happen, I would like to see it. I enjoyed, from a wrestling standpoint, I know that's sacrilege to talk about. WWE did weird with it. AEW did a fantastic job, mostly because they allowed some wrestlers to be around ringside, making some noise, creating some energy. So I don't think it will be as bad. It's not up to us, though. It's up to the, the governments. And
I think. Do
Did
you think
say
that
the guy?
No, I said I.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said it's up to the guy.
It's up to I mean, that's technically correct. Everything somewhere is
It
up
is
to
a
some guy.
And even if it's a woman, it's a guy. We call him the guy. Like in business, it's the guy. Anyway, sorry.
Do you think that the fighters are being more gentle with each other because they like just a hair? They're like, I don't want to touch you.
Hell no, they want to get out of there quicker.
Yeah,
they're looking for a finish. They're looking for an extra $50,000 if they're getting this COVID-19 shit.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Also, I don't
just like you slightly stop your hand sometimes for one of the, just like subconsciously. It's like I don't want to touch you.
I think anytime somebody.
That's how the fighters sound.
That's a nerd. That's the Star Trek guy who walked in again.
Covington, you gotta fight, but everyone's under quarantine.
Yeah. So.
He actually said it's not a big deal. It's just the flu, and he wanted to fight Tyron Woodley.
Go right ahead, sir.
If anybody should get the coronavirus, it would be Colby Covington.
Yes.
So I say yes. I say Colby just does a marathon and fights everyone.
Dickstown? He just does a Dickstown challenge.
What is that?
UFC Wuhan event, I think, should go on as scheduled.
So what is that match? Please remind me. Where someone is in the ring and just keeps fighting.
It's a gauntlet.
A gauntlet MMA match? Yeah.
Well, that's what they used to do in the old days. It was tournaments. So you just get 8 motherfuckers. You have them.
No.
What
she wants, and I agree with that. It's just
it's
Colby
like
Covington.
Like a Dickstown challenge.
Like a
fight somebody, wins immediately. Next person, just revolving.
Yeah, I agree with that. And
it's open weight too.
Open weight. I have no idea. I have no problem watching Colby Covington eat all of it.
This is what gets Fedor to the UFC.
Yeah.
Just so he could beat the piss out of Colby Covington.
So do you not like him just because of political leanings?
He's boring and he's a douchebag.
I think that it's not the political leaning part. There's plenty of people who support Trump that are UFC fighters. It's that it's a fake character, and I almost appreciate that he's trying to do some shit talking because I love shit talkers in fight sports.
That one guy played a Vanessa Carlton song during.
Yes,
I love it. Which one?
He's in jail again.
Which
it's
one?
Adrian Broner.
That's right, Adrian Broner.
He got arrested again.
Who was the guy who started? Well, probably punching someone, I would assume. Punching someone or rape. That's really what boxers end up in jail for. I mean, what? It's not tax evasion.
Well,
Jesus. We're pulling the R word out early. My God.
Yeah. It's rarely stock trading, inside trading. It's always that. It's always a sexual assault.
It's like 2 R words that really are jarring.
Right.
Don't say the other one.
No, what were we just? I'm sorry, I lost track.
We were talking about Colby Covington.
Oh, why I didn't like Colby Covington. I appreciate that he's trying to do a character, but he is so full of shit that you can't enjoy the character.
He's not
and also
even sticking the landing though, because when he gets pressed with something, when he does his MAGA talk, and then we saw it in Newark, like journalists like, but I'm about the truth.
Oh, this Canadian guy, I forget, was just really annoyed because his father was in the service.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. And I, listen, I have to acknowledge that my political bias leans in a little bit to it in the sense that it's not. I mean, it's a serious issue, but then again, I love, There
are people who play the liberal card in sports that I just.
I also don't like them either. Yeah, at times. So it just depends on how you do it. I think he's just so fake and phony with it, and then he brings out these strippers with him and stuff that are clearly, and then pretends that he's.
You
would
love that if that was a wrestling character.
He's trying too hard.
He's trying too hard. It's just not working.
If you're a gimmick, embrace being the gimmick, but you need to be natural at it. It feels like he just watched a bunch of pro wrestling, and he has hung out with wrestlers before. He's hung out with people from Wrestle Pro. He's hung out with Dan Lambert, the owner of American Top Team, who has like 50 pro wrestling belts and works with me at MLW. I like Dan a lot. But the root issue is that he watched a whole bunch of wrestling on YouTube, thought, oh, I could do that.
I don't even know if he's a wrestling fan. Like, that's how he's so far off from it. Like, he is doing an impression of what he thinks professional wrestling is.
Exactly.
From, like, watching it
as opposed to a very serious satire of what it is.
I guess. Yeah. It's
at
listen, I know that I'm pulling at weird strands as to, it's just something about it you go, there's something about the dude that I don't find genuine.
And I have to see more footage of this person when he brings in strippers.
He did it once.
Yeah, he's done it numerous times.
Has
like
he?
he's done videos where he's been in bed with strippers. Or
You have to show me more footage of him so I can react to it.
There we go.
I wanna
Well,
see
that'll be
the-
next
We'll
week's
find
show.
some.
Next
And
week's
then-
I
show,
wanna
we'll
see
watch
it.
Colby Covington promos
But-
and get your
And
reaction.
then the guy will make their decision
Guy.
of whether or not he's a douchebag.
So how
apparently,
Becky Lynch is the man, you're the
The
guy.
You're the guy.
I like
The
it.
guy.
I
The
like
guy.
it. I'll
Stephanie
stick with it.
Sottile.
I'm the guy.
It's-
There's a lot of female YouTubers who open their videos by going, "It's your boy," and so I like it.
But then when he got his jaw shattered by Usman,
Oh, Christmas.
it was really quiet, but then immediately started blaming the ref and
Oh,
stuff. Did a lot of heel
How
stuff.
could he
and
with his
that
jaw
I
shattered?
appreciate it on Twitter.
He was
Doesn't
writing
work.
it down on a doodle.
work.
Yeah, a little.
Hold on. He's got something to say to you. Hold on.
He's got a magnet.
No, it's gonna be a mean one. Just fucking wait a minute.
The interview with Joe Rogan.
You're
was
gonna
great.
feel so owned the second he finishes this.
It's like that Bob Dylan music video where he just got the
he
signs
holds
and he's
the
throwing them
cards
down.
and yeah.
Nothing like a 50-year-old reference.
Well, there you. Yeah.
Just
Supposed
you
to
go.
60 minutes.
Well, 60 Minutes is at least still on.
Yeah.
And
I do
NASCAR really
believe.
hitting the demographic.
Oh, yeah,
we think
definitely.
of.
Yeah, so this has not been a great week for MMA Mania on social media because yesterday Conor McGregor did not like the fact that we made light of a
Okay.
Photoshop he posted.
Oh, what happened now? Explain
So-
that story to everybody.
And how does he? Did he meet Dan White? Is that how
He's
he
not
got
met Dan. Dan A. White has been referenced on social media with Conor McGregor, but we over at MMA Mania, we're not leaving the house much. Conor McGregor posted a retweet of Bruce Lee with Conor McGregor's chest tattoo.
Okay.
And we
Okay.
quote tweeted that with the word cringe because it was a
So he
cringe-inducing-
photoshopped his
Well,
own
I
chest tattoo
assume-
onto.
Yes,
I would
because in
assume
an
some-
earlier
earlier tweet he was saying he's going to come back like Bruce Lee.
So he
I assume
photosho-
somebody
okay.
else photoshopped it. I don't know
Yeah,
that Connor knows how to use Adobe Photoshop.
He's actually got a CAD degree.
He does what?
He's got a CAD degree.
Oh, nice.
He's a college illustrator.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great if it was Connor, but I assume he retweeted somebody else's Photoshop.
Or
He
just say-
downloaded the
right.
photo or had one of his people do it.
Yeah.
And then Conor McGregor said, our numbers are cringy, which is actually not true. We're doing pretty well here over at the Mania as a group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No guardrails thrown at anybody. We're batting 1,000 on that.
That's true.
That's true.
And
But he does
well,
have private jet across the Atlantic to fuck someone up money.
sure.
We don't have that.
Show up on a car that he's not
Yeah.
supposed to be on and completely ruin it. Money.
We've snuck into our own fair share of media days before, but we've never had it in a Smokey and the Bandit-esque scheme.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. At this point, I think both of you are banned. Both companies are banned, right? Because his company's not allowed to do.
The Mac Life, no, they're allowed.
They're back in?
Yeah, they get press credentials.
I thought they
We-
were
we
denied
do
for a
too,
while.
But it depends upon who the person is.
Oh, okay. So it's
Uh,
a personal issue.
We're one of the few websites in the world that actively bans Dana White from our social media.
Oh, wait, is that true?
That is true.
Why is that now?
Not Dan A. White.
Not Dan A. White.
It's a
We
different
love
person.
Dan A. White.
Dan
Yes.
A. White, the puppet who
Yes.
resembles in no way the
No way.
life
At all.
of Dana White
No.
Or Moses.
or Moses with jeans.
Totally not what it was a Moses
was
puppet
not
that
a
got a
Moses
haircut and a
puppet.
shave and 2 bits.
That had a trimmed beard and then had to have baby clothes purchased to
That's
fit
not what
because
happened
it
at
was
all.
A puppet.
Nope.
Not at all.
I wasn't
It's
at the
actually a
Target the night
real-
before Dan debuted and bought a.
And if you want to see
toddler
Dan A.
clothes.
White, you can check out our coverage of the UFC events
Yes.
when we do them. The next one being, if it happens, April 18th, UFC 249.
Yes, let's talk about that. So UFC 249, it's Khabib versus Tony Ferguson. This is supposed to be
The
this,
fight that God himself is trying to stop for the 100th time.
This fight will never happen, and it's killing me. I have
mean,
people messaging me.
This fight has been stopped since the assassination of the Archduke Ferdinand caused World War I to stop this fight and bring it to a halt. I don't know if this would be stopped.
They're
at
really
number-
old fighters.
Yeah.
Number 17.
So
I don't know
old.
how many times they've tried to stop this. Were you right?
Yeah, I was just looking at the thing.
Sorry.
Don't
We're
break the
making
fourth wall.
sure our equipment, which is located entirely within his back.
This is he's going with the Teddy Ruxpin situation where we implanted
There we
the
go.
Zoom recording device into to Matt's back here.
You press his belly and he yells a racial slur.
Yeah.
That's not true.
No.
No, you can put whatever you want on those tapes. If you access them, I know friends who have
fair.
done it.
Oh, no.
Shout out to Bill Chambers, who altered the Teddy Ruxpin. Were you there for that? Anyway,
No.
he changed the
In his home when he did it? No.
No, when he's performed it.
Oh, no, I
Bill
haven't
Chambers
seen that.
is a fantastic performer.
And you could possibly see him when this is lifted at
Just-
the Unwanted at the stand.
There's no reason to plug that. We have no clue
You
when
can just
we
let
will
them
be
on
back.
social
But
media.
you can follow the Unwanted, but we will not be live anywhere, as nobody will.
We don't, it's the same as anyone else's.
As the only thing that I wonder if those Showtime guys are still performing on the subway.
No one's, I mean, they are, but they're wearing gloves and
Now
masks.
they finally have the room that they need. Is the irony. Because those Showtime guys have
It's
whole
less
subway.
impressive when you're like, yeah, showtime. You turn on some really awesome music and they're like, hold on, spray, wipe down.
Right,
It
right.
loses its like pep
Well, I mean,
when you watch them Lysol and
strippers have
spray.
strippers have been doing it for years.
I did hear Governor Cuomo say
They've been shouting showtime
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
Showtime is my
Showtime,
pussy.
folks, Showtime. Yeah.
I would love it now if a stripper did that.
I was gonna say the governor decided that he wanted to let the breakers break, and you just
break dancers?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know,
going for
sorry.
a joke, and then you just came in and fucking stone cold stunnered it by cutting me off.
What did I say?
I was in the middle of a sentence, and then you just walked in like, "Hello, everybody!"
I'm sorry. Can you say it again?
No, I'm not gonna say it again.
I enjoyed it the first time so much. I heard you.
My show. It's my show.
Anywho's it.
But yeah, UFC 249. Dana White will do anything within his power to make sure this fight happens. He will sacrifice a middleweight. He will make sure that somebody, somewhere, somehow.
You think for the event or for the fight?
Oh, for the whole. Well, you got to have the whole event. We've talked about I talked about it on the show last week that put the fucking whole show on ESPN. They did that with UFC Brasilia, but yet again, that's just a fight.
That was already
that's just a plus card,
right? And that
It's
was
not
a
pay-per-view.
favorite of ESPN who has been struggling
But
now,
do you
and
think-
rightfully so.
but
Not
do
their
you think
fault.
ESPN thinks like, oh, this might be the only live sporting event we get for the next who the hell knows?
It is the only
but
live
we
sporting
throw
event. Yeah.
throw the UFC a decent amount of money.
Oh, I'm sure they're getting compensated for it. I mean,
No, but instead of for the pay-per-view, like having that happen
well,
over
that's
the pay-per-view.
I don't
They might
know.
lose, but I think
That's
they
up
would
to the
lose money
UFC.
doing that.
If you sell the ad revenue, if you give yourself,
If you split the
give
ad
yourself
revenue.
time, yeah.
I still think because people are home. I would think that's even more people that would order it.
So, do you think people in this situation would be paying $80 for a pay-per-view? Because that's what you would be asking.
yeah,
You
I think so.
Everybody who has to make decisions about not knowing right now whether or not rent is going to be collected.
Well, to be fair, a lot of jobs are salaried. I mean, I don't know
No,
the demographic of like
yeah, but
earnings for the UFC, but the
It
ones that
skews
are
heavy-
like some of the jobs are paying for, they're taking care of people. It's not all jobs because our
But it
But
country's
it goes
horrible.
Back to that conversation we were having earlier. It skews heavily male. It skews a little old, like 18 to 45.
Right.
Maybe into the 50s.
I
so
would-
these are a lot of people who are low to middle income.
Mm-hmm.
And that $80, and then on top of that, you need an ESPN Plus subscription. So you're paying anywhere from.
You need the subscription to order the pay-per-view?
Yes.
That's insanity.
Yeah. Like you're paying for the ESPN Plus subscription.
It's a
on
very
top of
bizarre model. It's
Yeah.
a very
Yeah.
a unique business model.
And
It
it may
doesn't really
happen-
exist.
And you're saying for them to just show it on television on ESPN?
Yes, and this may be something we see with the WWE down the road, where there's been rumors about them selling their pay-per-view rights to a Fox or an ESPN,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and we don't know.
That's a
what the-
little bit different of a
Yeah.
situation because now you're asking UFC to. That's a lot of money.
But if
that you're
ESPN is
asking,
in
yeah.
such a bind for live sports, and this is one of the most anticipated fights all year, are you going to hedge your bets and hope that a few million, that the same thing with the Conor and Cowboy fight, that 2.2 million people bought the pay-per-view and subscribed to ESPN Plus, or are you going to be like, oh, we can do?
Can we do 10 million people?
Yeah, on
There's
ESPN.
no other sporting events going on. I mean, you have.
But do you?
no other.
But you're hoping 10 million people pay $80.
No. I'm saying
But
if
10
it
million
airs
people
on,
watching
I don't
ESPN.
think 10 million people are
Yeah.
gonna. Obviously, that's a high number. I'm saying we're in uncharted territory,
Oh,
so I'm
definitely.
just throwing out random numbers. 10 million would be
10 million
insane.
households for
Just on basic cable would be insane. I don't, but who knows? There's nothing else going on.
And you compound that with streaming and international, because
Yeah.
in some countries the UFC doesn't even have pay-per-view. I think it's just the U.S.
And some people might just illegally watch it. Like sometimes
we don't advocate for that.
Not
though.
at all, but it happens.
Head on over to MMAmania.com
but-
right now and sign up for ESPN Plus. Use the code and help us out here. That's ESPN Plus at MMAmania.com.
Yeah, but less people do that than you'd think would do that.
But like he was saying, in this time,
maybe
That's
ramp
why
up.
I think it would behoove the UFC to do something like look at the ESPN option, and for ESPN, it may be the best possible PR move for all parties involved.
Also, it might get a lot more eyes on the UFC product. People
definitely.
who have never checked it out before.
it'd be really awful if those people got the virus after doing this show.
Well, it's
It'd be
April
really
18th,
awful.
so hopefully by then that will not
The
necessarily
odds.
be.
That's true.
The odds statistically are everybody in every league so far has contracted it.
There's
right?
I've noticed
There's
that.
been Kevin Durant of the Brooklyn
Yeah.
Nets,
Yeah.
the head
It's-
coach of the New Orleans Saints
Someone
on Thursday.
One of the Ottawa Senators, I do believe.
Really?
I was gonna say with hockey too.
happened. I don't know about baseball.
Is Gritty okay?
Gritty, Gritty can survive because Gritty is mostly bacteria. It's,
just-
He is the virus.
yeah.
He's water
Kill
ice
him.
that melted
That-
and they rethawed.
Chance is fine because Chance is a Gila monster.
Chance the
Yeah.
Gila
And animals
monster.
can't get the virus, so
There you go. So
Chance is
and
fine.
the Rangers don't have a
They
mascot
don't
because
have a
we're a
mascot.
joyless organization.
the San Diego Chicken is fine. We've checked on the Philly Fanatic. He too is fine. All four.
he
of
also
those,
looks like a virus.
That's true. All four of those ex-presidents who do that run in where is it, Milwaukee or
No,
Cincinnati?
that's in Washington.
In Washington.
Where the Nationals are, where the presidents actually live, sir.
Well, yeah. Well, then the Nationals have to worry about staying away from the president because he most definitely has it.
Yes. The Grimace.
Just does the Grimace have it? Yeah, but that's also be poor caloric dieting
How
at
dare
this
you.
point because
He's already hindered by diabetes,
Yeah,
Nothing
like
can kill
type
the Grimace.
2. So I'm sure
the Hamburglar for sure has coronavirus because
he goes out at night, which apparently is when the virus comes out. Is at night because we're being told don't leave our houses past 8 p.m. So
yeah. Well, I think
Well,
that's
that's when the
just,
freaks come.
it's like the Jets or the Sharks.
That's
They go
just-
out at night.
yeah.
The Warriors. They only come out at night.
The Warriors have it. I do believe the baseball team
the
won.
Baseball Furies?
The baseball Furies don't have it. Cyrus is
Well, he's
all right.
dead.
We're hearing. Oh, he's not. He's dead. We got an update. Cyrus is dead. Cyrus, leader of all the gangs, has died.
Do they feel like they have to announce it if they get it? I don't understand that. Couldn't they just be like Durant? Couldn't he just keep it to himself and then the NBA just
No, 'cause
releases
then
one of the
his-
players has it?
Because then his teammates get fucked over because then they don't know if they should get screened or not.
But
Well,
then
I
just
don't know whose
have everybody
decision
get
it-
screened.
'Cause
How
they-
about we
yeah,
just
they
fix
are.
that?
The teams
I
are getting
think they
screened
are.
privately, but
So
that
then,
will be
yeah, who
coming
cares?
out, and I think they'd rather be open and honest
Which
with it and
just-
get a little bit of love on the social medias.
I just think it's like if you had lice, it's like embarrassing. Just like
No, I don't. Think
Are
it's
they-
not
are they
embarrassing.
gonna
There's a
get-
definitive difference between COVID-19
I'm saying,
and lice.
they're gonna be separate from people and then be looked at differently?
Everybody else is already separate.
They're
from
gonna have their
people.
balls busted for the rest of their lives. Like,
Well, the
fucking
only guy
gave
who's
us
getting his balls
coronavirus.
busted about the coronavirus was the Rudy. What's it? Rudy from the Utah Jazz.
Oh, Rudy Gobert
Rudy Gobert, who didn't take it seriously at all, and
coughed on microphones.
not only did that, he coughed and purposely touched all the microphones in the press conference, and then turns out he had it, and then gave it to one of his teammates for sure, supposedly. Two of the Los Angeles Lakers have it. Obviously, none of them are LeBron James because
No.
it would be announced that LeBron James has it.
One of us has it apparently.
Yes.
A lot of coughing.
To just put a bow on this, do we see UFC 249 take place?
Whew. At this point, it's a coin flip. It's so far away. Like,
Yeah.
if it was this weekend, I would be like, it's going down. But by April 18th, every day that... Look, this whatever we want to call this, what are we calling it officially?
It's a
The-
pandemic.
Pain in the ass.
The pandemic or the quarantine aspect of
Yeah.
it.
Sure.
All right.
The social distancing.
When did this start, right? To me, it feels like it was a month ago. I think it was...
our
last week.
our social distancing only started, I think, I would say last
week.
Thursday.
All right, when did the NBA
last Thursday,
shut
Friday,
down?
Wednesday.
Last week.
Last week.
Thursday.
That was the big domino.
Yeah.
Was when the NBA cancel or postpone the rest
Yeah.
of the season. Which, let's be honest, it's probably not happening. I don't know what you do. I don't know if you
I've heard a rumor
hold.
that they've been looking to move the season to December for a while now. It started around Christmas.
But it's not. But everything too. Like every season of everything has to be pushed down the calendar.
Well, that's the crazy part is we don't know at what
Football
point
will
do
be
you
fun.
award the Stanley Cup. How do you do that? Because
Yeah.
there was still a month and a half left in that season, and then on top of that, that playoff goes about 2.5 months.
But that's what I'm saying. Everything is just pushed down, so then your wait time in between is going to be less when they restart for the next year.
I mean, at this point, what's going to happen is you're going to award the Stanley Cup, and then next week start the new
Start it
season.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they didn't. When
Or
they
do you
did the
just
Spanish
not-
flu, they just didn't
They
crown
just
a champion.
didn't have a Stanley
Who
Cup.
would be the Stanley Cup champion right now? You don't have to give a definitive answer, but like, who was leading? Who was at the top of the
Was it
standings?
the Penguins or the Bruins? I
Oh.
forget at this point.
I know the
Yeah.
Knights have won like 9 games in a row.
There we go.
And the Rangers were winning.
The
games.
Rangers were in the wild card hunt, but who was number 1 in the league? I want to say that it was either Washington or Boston. We could just look it up, but why not just speculate?
Yes,
much
that's
like
exactly
we're doing
what we
everything
do.
else. And
What everybody's doing. I think it'll happen because they're also keep saying that the number of cases that come out, the number is going to skyrocket just
Yeah.
because the tests are coming in. So whether or not they keep saying don't panic because the numbers are going up doesn't mean anything. People are going to still panic to be
the
sure.
problem is this: if one person tests positive,
Everything gets.
everything is going to have to be shut down.
Oh yeah.
And statistically speaking, there's no fucking way that somebody
Absolutely.
who works in the UFC doesn't have it, and then that's it.
Well, I think
Yeah.
it'll happen. I think it'll just be in an empty arena still. We're going to still
Like,
do
this
that.
Fight
Even
has
then,
to
they
happen.
won't let it
This
happen.
fight has to happen. If they have to do it in the streets of Dagestan, this fight's fucking.
Well, that's the other rumor. We don't know what the location
Yeah,
is. at
because
this
the New
point.
York State Athletic Commission kicked them out.
Right.
Mhm, yeah.
And-
Rightfully so.
And in our and,
Yeah.
We're good
Yeah.
for now with fights.
yeah, but in my new video essay, written and coming out, I believe already out, either on the SBN MMA or MMA YouTube MMA Mania YouTube channels. You can just see it in the description below. I came up with 3 viable options.
Okay.
The first one being in we can take a look at the board here. A boat. You just buy a boat.
Buy a boat
Okay.
and do it on international waters.
in international
like old
waters.
casino stuff.
Yep.
Get a riverboat casino.
or Mississippi.
We're
Yeah,
going to have
you
a
could do it in
monkey
the
fight.
Casino
Open
Madness.
it.
The monkey knife fights.
Yeah.
The monkey knife fights are going to open.
Second one's Dothan, Alabama, because it's Alabama.
Yeah, they'll allow anything.
And then the third one's Kimbo Slice's house.
Okay. The backyard, you
Yes.
mean? Backyard style with, what's his name, 3000.
Yes. Dada 3000.
Dada 3000.
Dada 5000.
Dada 5000. Excuse me. I
That's a
confused
fight
them.
I need to make you guys watch.
Dada 5000
And
versus
Kimbo.
Kimbo Slice. I
Yes.
do believe it looked terrible. I remember seeing
It was a
it.
terrible.
It was
Both of
not
them went
great.
to the hospital and nearly died after that fight.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
Neither of
So-
them. And where did they do that fight? Do you remember?
Bellator
But I mean,
in Miami.
In Miami.
Yeah.
Are you asking us where we would have
Yes. And
Okay.
if this fight should happen.
events?
Yes.
Let's see.
Keeping in mind the safety of the public and
Yes.
the fighters.
Well, I'm assuming this would also be with no audience, so this
Yes.
could really be in anything.
Well, you've got to also remember State
No
Athletic
audience.
Commission would also have to sign off on this.
no audience because nobody's gonna.
What
allow
if
an
it's
audience.
what if it's not on
Ex-
Earth? What if I said the
A
moon?
little too much.
It's gonna be
No?
hard. Elon
Yeah.
Musk would have to get involved.
He
And-
should.
Dana White shared a meme.
He hasn't
of
done
that,
shit.
by the way,
Oh, that they're gonna do on the moon. Well,
Shut.
excuse me.
with
he
Elon
provided,
Musk involved.
He provided
shit yet.
He
He's providing
provided
ventilators.
It's not enough. I
water
think.
for the people of the school children.
Oh,
of
okay,
Flint,
good.
Michigan.
What am I thinking? I'm thinking Jeff Bezos
Yeah,
hasn't
you're
done
thinking of the
shit.
guy who owns Amazon.
Yeah. Who,
Having a fucking
Runs a
have
competing
it.
service to the fucking space program that Elon Musk.
You know
is
what?
doing.
Have it in the warehouse for Amazon, and then
Having an Amazon
Get-
fulfillment center.
yeah, and have Jeff Bezos get it. Have one of them infect him.
Well,
There you go, son.
My original answer was on the streets like Rocky 5. You shot for shot set up remake of the environment there. I would also suggest that we do it at another Post Malone concert since he seems to have no problem continuing the
Seems
concert.
Or on a
Clearwater
Florida
Beach, yeah.
on a Florida beach.
Yeah,
Florida Beach or Gathering of the Juggalos. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
I like it. Cave in Rock, Illinois, UFC 249. That's where we're gonna be, and that's where.
Family.
I mean, they are wrestling fans, but I think the Juggalos could bring MMA fans and wrestling fans together.
Only way we do it is if we get to play the dope ass comedy tent.
There we go. There we go. And you can
Will
finally,
Ask Dan be there?
uh, d-
No,
And you can. He is dead.
Oh, he dies.
He died. And you can fulfill your lifelong dream of competing to become Miss Juggalette.
I absolutely want to. That is not a bitch.
I'm
I
telling you
I
that
want
you
to.
do not want to be part
I
of the
want to
Miss
put on
Juggalette.
rainbow furry socks, and a halter top, and some bunny ears and a Hello Kitty mask, and then
That
What's
seems.
Enter.
stopping you now?
and then enter because nobody's judging me.
Yeah.
No, we would be
Unless-
judging you.
Unless there's a cash prize and some Faygo soda
Yeah,
involved.
I think that's what it is. They give you. I think it's like I don't
a
know.
lifetime supply of Faygo.
That's
I do believe.
amazing. Because then people look. That's going to be
A
the
soda
interesting
that will
thing.
give you
Because when I-
diabetes
because-
just by looking at it.
Because when I want to subjugate myself, I want it to be for a lifetime supply
Look,
of regional soda pop.
You can judge all you want, but you absolutely know that if you walked into a bar and there's a group
Mm-hmm.
of people and somebody introduces themselves going, "Hi, I'm Marie. I won the Miss Juggalette contest."
I'm
You're
a
like,
former
"I'm going to
Miss-
talk to you right away."
I'm a
Like,
former Miss
No,
Juggalette.
she's a carrier of the coronavirus. I'm getting the hell out of there.
It's
Do
either,
they
it's
do
either
the-
that or genital warts, and hedge your bets at that point.
Do they do the thing where with the Miss Juggalette contest where they say that the runner-up, should the winner not be able to fulfill their obligations,
Yes, they do.
will be able to step in?
I mean,
But
normally
what
Miss Juggalette does have an opioid problem, so
Oh, I thought it'd be like
usually
just being, like paying their taxes or something.
no.
Yeah, that you have to
Please
step
fix
in.
that.
No.
Oh
Your
my
Ace,
God,
it's
this
Ace
is
Ventura.
now
Please fix that.
Become really bad. Oh no, it's worse. It's just worse. It's worse.
That
There we
better?
go. Yeah.
That better?
There you
There we
go.
go. It's the end
Uh,
of this stupid fucking
I mean,
So, yeah, I have no-
relatively.
by the way, I am down with the clown. I don't want to get any comments. I just want to having some fun. With
I legit want to enter the. I
Stephanie does
legit love
legit
it.
want to.
I
attend the
I
gathering.
don't listen to any of that type of music, but I appreciate their spirit. So it is actually the love
you're not
is
part of
legitimate.
Hatchet Boy Records or whatever it is. What is it?
Psychopathic record.
Psychopathic Records.
I mean,
The
magnets
Hatchet Man.
are.
The Hatchet Man is one.
I mean, magnets. How do they work? They're gonna figure it out for us.
I think they did.
Yeah. I believe that.
I meant the juggalos are gonna figure it out.
There was a whole music video
Yeah.
that educates you
They
about
say, how do
it.
they work?
Well, no, you know what? They only ask how it works.
They don't
never
know.
provide
They
a
don't go
solution.
into it.
That's what I
empirically.
They
mean.
go by
I wanna-
Jeopardy rules.
On
How,
that,
how do they work? The answer is fucking magnets.
on that
The
note,
answer: fucking magnets. How do they work? Magnets. How do they work? That is correct.
I love it.
I would like to thank you, Stephanie, and thank you, Harry, for joining us on episode 7 of the 2 Point Deduction Podcast.
It's so hard for us to get here.
Yes, in the Corona lockdown next week, we will be fighting over scraps while our producer, Jonathan Q. Rotten, tries to fist fight someone's baby. Harry, how can we find you on social media?
You can follow all my social media at Harry Terjanian, and also you can listen to the podcast I do every week, Man School 202, which will still be going on during the lockdown.
They don't care about everybody's health.
Well, we're going to be doing remotely. Not that it matters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yay.
Because we got to get
And,
bitches even though there's a pandemic.
And Steph,
man.
you can.
Yes, I was waiting for the host to switch it over here.
Stephanie.
There you go. On everything, social media, Twitter, Instagram, and embarrassingly TikTok, because I like finding dog videos. It's God's Unwanted Daughter. And for unwanted comedy for us, it's Twitter and Instagram, just Unwanted Comedy.
There you go.
Hopefully it's not unwanted.
We'll see.
I
Well,
have you
God
guys on.
seems to not want it.
Yeah.
because
God
he put a
seems-
stop to
I
2020 so far.
am God's unwanted daughter. I don't know why no one believes me.
Everyone has good years and bad years, and this one, everyone is going down in 2020. It's not good for anybody.
It's not good for anyone.
Maybe the people who own the hand sanitizer, but that's about it.
Hand sanitizer and toilet paper. I mean, the CEOs of Scotch and whoever makes hand sanitizer. I can't remember any of the Purell. There we go.
The biggest brand in hand sanitizer.
That's what the Fortune magazine is going to come out next year. #1 billionaires in the world who owns Purell.
2020, baby, Purell.
Uh,
You think they're just throwing champagne like they just won the?
They're diving into coins like Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah.
Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
having
diving
eyes wide
into
shut parties.
coins
We
and dollars.
want the funk. Give us the funk, baby. We.
And you can follow us at MMAmania.com, all one word, on Instagram. That's MMAmania.com. And you can follow us on Twitter at MMA Mania, Facebook MMA Mania. Be sure to write nice things about us because, well, we're pissing everybody off this week, even ourselves. And we'll be back next week right here with another edition of the 2 Point Deduction Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, smash that like button, and ring that bell if you're on YouTube, or just subscribe to us if you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you ingest your audio. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button. We thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with us during this pandemic. It's not easy. It's going to be a son of a bitch for a really long time. The only way we can get through it is by entertaining one another, being there for one another, and alcohol. A lot of alcohol rubbing and otherwise. Until next time, so long from an alleged state. I'm Matt Ryan. This has been the 2 Point Deduction Podcast.